Hi everybody, this is Matt. Thanks for watching and welcome back. Many of you viewers have asked, Matt, what do you think of the new Gen 5 Glocks? Do you like them? Do you hate them? Have you shot them? Have you handled them? That sort of thing. And here's the breakdown for you. The Gen 5 Glocks, I like them just fine, except for a couple of things. And we'll talk about that. Have I went out and purchased one? No, I have not. And the reason for that is actually very simple. I already have Glocks that work well. I have some Gen 3 Glocks and some Gen 4 Glocks, and they work just fine. So until one of them completely breaks down, I don't really see a need to purchase a Gen 5 Glock. But yeah, let's just go ahead and talk about it. What are some of the differences? What do I like? What don't I like? Well, here, my friends, we have a Gen 3 Glock 19. And this is by far one of my favorite Glocks that I own. This tends to be an everyday carry item just because I really like this gun. I love the way that it shoots. I love the way that it feels in my hand. I can't tell you the amount of rounds that I put through this thing. So I like it, and I don't see any need or reason to switch away from it. So what have I done to this? Well, obviously, I've swapped out the sights. There are different sights on it. And I have put Talon grips on there. Aside from that, nothing. This works really well. However, one thing that I want to bring to your attention is how this thing fits in my hand. So if you see right here, when I've got this good old high tang grip on it, see where my hand ends up. On the Gen 5 Glock 19s, they have like a swell at the bottom, which is actually a flare for the magazines to go into. And there's a cutout, like a half moon cutout, that sits right about where my pinky is. For whatever reason, I'm not terribly fond of it, but that's just me. Doesn't have to be you. But the way that this fits my hand is absolutely great, so I don't have any reason to change it. What about the trigger? Well, glad that you folks asked about that. The triggers on these Glocks, like the Gen 3 and the Gen 4, they're not the same, and not the same mechanism as what you have on the Gen 5 Glocks. So if you want to see the difference on how this trigger functions, it's real simple. Watch this. A lot of take up, a little bit on the spongy side, and then finally we get a break. However, the closest thing to a Gen 5 trigger on a Glock is like this Glock 43, which I also really like this Glock 43. But the trigger on this, way different. If you look at my last demonstration, trigger here on the Glock 43, very decisive. Minimal stacking. I mean, it is just crisp. So, I like the trigger on the Glock 43, but I also like the trigger on this Generation 3 Glock 19. So, it just depends how you use them and how much time that you actually have behind the gun. What else can I say? On the Gen 5 Glocks, I like the finish that happens to be on them. Seems to be real durable, although a little bit slick. So one time I was manipulating a slide, and my fingers were a little bit oily, so it was just a little bit slippery. If your hands were wet or something, that might have to be something that you would want to take into consideration. But seems to be an incredibly durable finish. Aside from that, what can I say? It's a Glock. Glocks tend to be extremely reliable. So If I had a need for a Gen 5 Glock, if you have a need for something like that and you want to go purchase it, that's fine. I think they're great guns. They handle well. The only thing for me with the Glock 19 is that flared mag well. That feels a little bit different in my hand. I don't notice it on the Glock 17. So no big deal there. As far as the removal of the finger grooves, I'm a big fan of not having finger grooves to begin with, so I'm happy about that. But they perform well. I like the triggers in them. Just a different animal, that's all. But I don't think that you'd really go wrong with it. On the other hand, try before you buy. If you have a range that rents, that has rentals of different guns, don't just buy a Glock because it's a Glock. If you have the opportunity, try that. Try a Smith & Wesson M&P, try a CZ, or something else. See what fits you. See what works for you, fits in your hand, and that you can shoot accurately, and something that you're going to carry on a regular basis, or just, practice enough with it so you get really proficient. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. It's good to be back. Good to see you folks. And everybody, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. And until next time, everybody, you know the drill. Have a good one and be safe out there.